or le- how long have you been learning English for? When did you start to learn English?
I started learning at school, I think 12 years ago.
12
Not,
years ago. Wow.
not 20 years ago.
20 years. That's why your English is so good, because you started so long ago, 20 years ago. Wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
You know, it's difficult to have enough practice.
Oh, of course, that's true. Practice makes perfect. And if you don't use it, what happens? Do you know what happens, Murat?
So last time I had practice in university. So
Yes,
yeah, I graduated in uh, 2014.
that's good.
So since that time had no
Yes.
practice at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the expression, practice makes perfect. And if you don't use it, you lose it.
Right.
That's right. Um, so uh, now let's have a look. Next thing I wanted to ask you, yes, the reason why you want to improve your English, Murat, is it for professional reasons, your job, your work? Is it for traveling, tourism, or is it a personal interest of yours?
Uh, I'm applying for master degree
Ah, master degree. That's good.
at Warwick University.
Warwick University.
Right.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and I'm preparing for Duolingo English test.
Oh, right. Oh, for the IELTS. Is that right?
Not IELTS.
No.
This year, due to coronavirus,
Yes.
almost all universities
Uh-huh.
in the world accept Duolingo English test. It's online.
All right.
Yeah, because for example, in Kazakhstan, British Council doesn't
Yes.
work right now.
Ah, right. So that's why it's possible to have it in the two languages. Is that right? You said
Sorry.
it's duolingual?
No, no, no. If you know Duolingo, Duolingo is a website.
Oh, the Duolingo website. Yes, absolutely. Yes, I know that. And they do tests as well on Duolingo?
Right. They do
Really?
tests. Right. They do tests, and
Oh, wow, that's good.
yeah, it
That's really.
became as important as IELTS this year.
Oh, just this year it's
Yeah, just
become
this year.
because of the coronavirus.
Right.
Wow, that is really good. So I'm looking at your message that you. Oh no, no, I must look in the right place. Right, let's have a look at your messages because we did send a few messages. Okay, that's right. You're preparing for the Duolingo English test. I see that. And you're saying that speaking is what you need to improve the most. That was actually going to be my next question. What you most want to improve with your English, if it's your grammar, your vocabulary, your pronunciation, or your speaking. So it's your speaking you most need to improve. That's good. And then the rest was the scheduling that we talked about and where we live. And okay. Well, that's great. Wonderful. So, did you? Oh, and actually you've already booked a specific lesson. You've booked the RLS and RPS lesson, real life. Oh no, English tutoring. Sorry, it's an English tutoring lesson. I was looking at another page there. So informal tutoring, right? Informal tutoring. So that's good. And so for the informal tutoring, now, did you see the method, my teaching method on my video on my italki profile page? Were you able to watch the video? Did you see the
Yes.
video?
Yeah.
Yes. And so, what did you think of that teaching method that I explained there? How did you find it? What's your impression, your opinion of it?
You mean teaching through the Bible?
Yes, teaching through the Bible. Are you familiar with the Bible? Have you read the Bible before, Murat?
I've never read, but I
Mm-hmm.
know it, and
Right.
I think I don't know. I read it in Russian a
Ah,
bit.
Ruski. Da, Ruski.
Just okay. Okay.
That's all I can say in
So
Russian. Ruski.
yeah, but I don't know. I don't know. Is it does it have specific vocabulary in English,
Well,
especially?
it does have quite a high level of vocabulary, and some Bibles have Old English, like the King James Version, but because Old English is like words like thee, thy, thou, and thine. Have you heard of these words before,
No.
Murat? No. Okay, so this is Old English. So these words mean you, your, and yours, you see. But it's easier to use the modern English equivalent instead of the Old English because nobody these days uses thee, thy, thou, and thine, you see. So they say you, your, you, and yours. So that's why I use the NKJV, which is the New King James Version. So it's a more recent version with modern language, but it's still very close to the original text. So it's very high quality English, and you can learn a lot of vocabulary using this method. So if you like, as this is like the first lesson, I can give you a demonstration of my teaching method of biblical English. Would you like that, Murat?
Uh, I'm not sure that it's okay for me that time.
Okay. I think
Uh,
then it might be better. Sorry, you were going to say? So what were
yeah.
you going to
So
say? Yes?
I have a deadline, August
Yes.
10th.
Ah.
I will take my exam this date. So I think
Oh, you
your
have a
course,
deadline. Yes, of course. Mhm.
your course, I think should be interesting for me, but I
Mm.
think it takes long time.
A long time. You don't say it takes
Right?
long time, you would say it takes a long time because you need to have the article in front of the noun. In this case, it's the word time, like a time. Here it's the indefinite article, the letter A, or it could be the definite article, and then it would be the word the, you see, the time. But here it's a time, so it takes a long time. You see that, Murat?
Right?
Right, excellent, very good. You're quite right that if you have a deadline and therefore you need to improve your speaking as quickly as possible, okay, and then I would recommend another of my teaching methods. I don't know if you saw this on my italki profile page, and it's RLS and RPS. Now that stands for real life situations and role playing simulations. Did you see that on my italki profile page?
I think, yeah.
Yes. So here you can have like a job interview situation, scenario, where I play the role of the interviewer and you play the role of the candidate, the job applicant. And so that would give you practice in an interview situation so that you feel more confident in presenting yourself, you have more assurance, and that way you won't be nervous when the actual real life interview comes round, when you have it, and you'll be able to give a better impression of yourself to the interviewer so that by grace, what we hope is that you will obtain the job you are applying for. You see what I mean, Murat?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So we could do that to start off with, so you can see what it's like. So I will give you a demonstration of RLS and RPS. Now, you need to think of a scenario, any situation which you can find in real life, okay, which we can then do a simulation of using role playing, where we each play a specific role. We have a dynamic, interactive, two-way dialogue, and that way it'll give you practice for your speaking, which is what you need. What do you think of that, Murat? Would that be good for you?
Yeah, it's good for me. And I saw that I'm interested in making some presentation and present it to you as my homework.
Absolutely. That would be good if you could do that. So the first thing to do is to do one of these scenarios, RLS and RPS, and whichever one you do, it would be good to also to prepare a presentation. And what's the easiest is to present yourself, like in an interview situation, because talking about yourself has to be the easiest thing to do, because you are the one who knows yourself best of all. No one else knows yourself better than you do. So that's easy to talk about you, about yourself. And that way you can prepare it, first of all, and then when we have our next lesson, if you would like us to have some more lessons together, then you could present that presentation to me in the lesson out loud, and I'll then correct any mistakes you might make in your pronunciation, in your grammar, when you've formed and created the sentences using your own words for the presentation, and that should and also words of vocabulary. Yes, in case there are some words of vocabulary which are wrong, I could correct those as well. So that'll equip you and prepare you for speaking more easily, actively, dynamically. That would be good. So for this lesson now, let me give you a few more ideas of scenarios. You could be ordering food and drinks in a restaurant, and I could play the role of the waiter and take your order, for example. Or you could be buying train tickets in a railway station, and I could play the role of the person working in the ticket office who sells the tickets. Okay? Or you could be booking a dream holiday, the holiday of a lifetime, in a travel agency, and I could play the role of the travel agent and reserve your holiday for you. You could be in a work situation, and I could be, this is for the business English, the English in the workplace, the professional English. I could play the role of your boss, your manager, your superior, and invite you to a weekly work report meeting where you tell me how your work has progressed over the last week, and any difficulties you might have had or obstacles you might have encountered, and any questions you might like to ask. Now, you could have it the other way around, where you're the person in charge, like a project leader, project manager, team leader, and you could invite me as a team member for a new project that you want to present to the team at the meeting. And then after you've done your presentation of your new project, then when it's the questions and answers time at the end, I could then ask you a few questions about this new project, as I'll be one of the team members of your team, and you are the project manager, the team leader, you see. So that could be also interesting. So that's just a few ideas. I don't know what you think, or maybe you have your own ideas of a scenario you could do. What do you prefer, Murat? Tell me. What would you like to do?
May I be a travel agent?
Of course, you can be the travel agent, and I can be the customer, the one who wants to travel. Yes. Oh, very good. You'd like to do that? Are you ready?
Because I think travel agent should speak more than a customer.
Of course, absolutely. You're
Some
quite right.
activities.
Absolutely, you're quite right. That's the right way round to turn it. But obviously, even as a travel agent, I can ask you what your preferences are, where you like to go, what you like to do, to find the ideal holiday for you, the holiday of a lifetime, which would be exactly what you like best of all, you see. But then, of course, you can also be the travel agent, and you're the one who can ask me all these questions and then give all the information about the places to go to. Yes, that would be interesting. So that will make a change for me.
Yeah, Walter,
because
you're right. Sorry, Walter, you're right. You should be a travel agent because you should lead our conversation, right?
Unless you want to lead the conversation, because if you're leading the conversation, if you're asking me what I prefer, where I'd like to go, what I'd like to do, etc., then you could do it as well. You could lead the conversation and I just answer your questions. And then at the end, there is the extra speaking time, because you will then, based on all the information you've collected from me, okay, you could then suggest what would be the perfect holiday for me, the ideal holiday, you see, and that would be in conclusion. So you would actually, you're right, be speaking more if you are the travel agent. So, but we can do both. We can try both. We can try it one way round and then afterwards the other way round. So which way round should we try it first? Do you want to be the travel agent first, or do you want to be the customer first? What do you prefer? You want to be the customer first. Okay, that's great. So, are you ready, Murat?
Right.
Right. Hello, sir. Welcome to our travel agency. Please do come in, sit down, make yourself comfortable, and please, if you could tell us, sir, where would you like to go to, please?
Hello, my name is Murat, and I'm planning my trip with my family.
Right.
So the first requirement for our voyage is a sunny beach.
A sunny beach, right? Okay.
Sunny beach, and some activities available for my children.
Right. Very good.
Yeah, due to since we have two small children, so we can't participate in extreme activities.
Of course.
Yeah, it should be quiet and relaxing, but exciting, I hope.
Of course, absolutely, yes. So, what are the ages of your children, please, Mr. Murat?
2 and 5 years old.
Right, 2 and 5 years old. So they're still quite young, reasonably young. So as I see what you mean. When the children are quite young, it's difficult to do very extreme activities, because the activities would not be appropriate for them if they're very young. I understand that. So that is a very good point. Now, do you have a preference as to, first of all, which continent, and secondly, which country in that continent you might like to go to, please, sir?
For us, it would be more convenient if it would be Middle East, for example.
Middle East, yes.
Middle East or Asia.
Or
Yeah,
Asia.
Or Asia, because we love Asian cuisine.
Yes.
Yeah, and due to time zones.
Yes, time zones.
We used to these time zones.
Right. So either Middle East or Asia. And did you have any particular country in mind at all, Mr. Murat?
No particular country, but it shouldn't be too hot.
Not too hot.
Not too hot.
Okay. Okay, right. Now, maybe if I could make a suggestion, a very popular destination, I'm sure you must have heard of it, in Indonesia, and it's the island of Bali. Have you heard of Bali, sir?
Yeah, I know Bali.
Yes. And what do you think of Bali as a possibility? Do you think that might be a good possibility for you, sir?
Yes, it could be. I think sand beach.
Yes.
Sand beaches and quiet bungalow.
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 Yes, let me just write that word for you. Bungalow, yes.
Bungalow, and maybe some activities relating with scuba diving, maybe.
Oh, yes.
For me, it's interesting.
Yes.
Right. And what could you say about their cuisine?
Oh, absolutely wonderful, sir. Especially if you like spicy food. Do you like spicy food, sir?
I like, but not my wife.
Not your wife. But don't worry, there's also food which is not spicy. So for you, if you like spicy food, then you're going to love most of the traditional dishes. Okay. But of course, there is much more simpler food, which is non-spicy, and you can always specify that you would rather have the non-spicy version. So, and of course, for the children, I imagine they would probably prefer non-spicy food. Is that correct?
Correct, yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, as far as the food is concerned, there is so much variety that you're going to be spoilt for choice. Do you know that expression, sir? Spoilt for choice?
Yeah. Spoilt for choice.
Spoilt for choice. When there's so much choice that you don't know what to choose, then you are spoiled for choice. Absolutely. So for food, you're going to love it, sir. And also, if you want, for example, to go on boat trips to see the dolphins, that is something that's always good fun for the children. Seeing the dolphins when they jump out of the water. And they have that in the north of Bali, in a place called Lavina. So I can suggest that as a nice place. And of course, as you said, the scuba diving, absolutely wonderful. The water is very clear. There's lots of colored fishes, multicolored fishes, and you can swim amongst the fishes. And oh, it's just wonderful. I'm sure you'll really like it, sir. So let's have a look at when would be the most convenient time for you to go, and how long you would like to stay there, sir.
So we're planning to stay there for 3 weeks.
3 weeks, right?
And in October.
So you'd like to go in October for 3 weeks, okay? And so you would want to fly then to, if you're going to Bali, the airport in Bali. And so what about hotel, the hotel accommodation? Uh, what kind of hotel would you like to stay in, sir, with your
Yeah,
family?
I've seen a lot of pictures
Pictures,
of
yes. Mm-hmm.
hotels in Bali.
Yes.
So
Oh, yes.
as I said, we prefer bungalow,
A
and
bungalow, right?
a bungalow, yes, and far from any nightclubs, any
Of
loud
course.
places. Right.
Mm, right. So I think actually this place up north, Lavina, where we have the dolphins, would also be a good place for your family because it's more of a family destination rather than the east and west sides um, of Bali, which has many more tourists, but they tend to be um, single tourists. They don't tend to be families. But the place where most of the families go is up north. So that would be good for the family, and it's much quieter because there are less tourists.
Okay.
Uh, because, of course, as it's up north, people have to go a long way to go to the north. So it's not near the airport, which is down south. And that's why most of the young people, they tend to stay in the south, around the capital, Denpasar, and especially where there's a lot of surfing, which is on the west coast, especially. So, from a point of view of it being calm, it's absolutely very calm, sir. From a point of view of bungalows, there are lots of bungalows, and even the hotels have bungalow accommodation, if you see what I mean. It's like a residential center, and instead of just being in one great big building, there are lots of little bungalows, and they're all like a little bit separate from each other. So you have the peace and quiet, and you have all the countryside around, nature, the beautiful nature, the green surroundings. So it's really nice from that point of view. Uh, so that's what I would suggest for the accommodation. So that would be good. Now, what about insurance? What kind of insurance would you want for you and your family, sir, for the trip?
I think full full covering is the best.
Full coverage.
Right.
Okay. So, full coverage insurance. Okay, which is basically the full insurance, full coverage. So you're completely covered. That's good. Now, let's have a look. Well, I think that's already good. We have a lot of information there already. So, do you have any other questions about this destination, sir, that you'd like to
Uh,
ask?
is bungalow? Is there any bungalow with own piers or own beach?
Ah, so a
I mean,
bungalow
private beach.
private with its own beach, like or the own jetty. You mean the pier where it
Access
goes out
to
into the
water.
water?
Right.
The wooden structure that goes out into the water. Well, yes, we do have that as well because there are some hotels which, of course, the more luxury hotels, they offer you therefore a stretch of beach which is just not only your bungalow but also the beach around it is just for your own personal use. So it's like a private beach. And of course, they also have this pier that goes out into the water. So there are the more, exclusive hotels, the more luxury hotels that do offer that. So if you would like that, that's definitely a possibility as well. Yes. Any other questions you would like to ask about it, sir?
No. Oh, thank you.
Okay, well, that's very good for that destination. So here's all the documentation. So you have all the information. So you can see exactly which one of those hotels would suit you best, which are the luxury hotels with the private beaches and the private piers. And then once you've chosen the hotel that you'd like to go to, then I will book all the flights for you and the whole holiday, and everything will be reserved for you, sir. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much then for that, sir. And we look forward then to hearing from you again as soon as you've chosen exactly which hotel you'd like to stay at. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. And of course, you have a nice day. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay. Murat, tell me, how did you find that scenario, that role play? Was it helpful, useful for you? Interesting?
Yeah, actually, it's helpful, but I'm not confident. And actually, I'm the only who can help me to improve my vocabulary, because I know all active vocabulary on this topic.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't use it.
So you do know the vocabulary, but it's a question of using the vocabulary in that situation so that you will it will become active vocabulary rather than just passive vocabulary. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yes, because the difference between active and passive vocabulary is that when you listen to somebody speaking, you can understand what they're saying when you have that vocabulary as passive vocabulary because you know it. Passively, you don't actually use it actively, but at least you understand what the person's saying. But when it becomes active vocabulary, that means it is something which, these are words which and expressions that you use actively and you feel comfortable with. That's the word you were using earlier. You need to feel comfortable with these words and expressions so that you will be feeling ready to use them in your active vocabulary. Because if you don't feel comfortable with it, then if it's not very familiar, you will not want to use it because you'll be afraid of making a mistake. Is that the situation, Murat? Is that how you feel about it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. So what we can do now is to try it the other way around, where you are the travel agent and I'm the customer. And that way we can see if this will give you a little bit more practice using these words of vocabulary, and then see if you can use them in an active way. So it'll be part of your active vocabulary. Would you like to try that?
Yeah, we can try.
Right. Okay. So we're ready to start then.
Yeah. So good afternoon. Welcome to our travel agency.
Yes.
My name is Murat, and today I'm your travel agent. You can ask any questions about your future trip, and I will make your voyage happy, and you and your family.
Oh, that's very nice of you, sir. Thank you very much for your very warm greeting. And my name is Walter, and I'm very pleased to come to your travel agency to book my next holiday with you. So, what do you suggest would be, because I'm on my own, so I'm looking for something really interesting, really exciting. What would be a place which would be unique, something that will make me feel that I'm somewhere totally different from usual everyday life. What can you suggest like that, please, sir?
Yeah, if you are planning to travel alone,
Yes, alone.
or we can suggest several locations with
Right.
yeah with um, with some extreme activities.
Yes.
Yeah. So and it would be unforgettable experience for you.
Oh, yes, that would be
Yeah.
good. Mm.
So
What?
third
Mhm.
thing, sorry.
No,
Uh,
yes.
yeah.
Hmm.
First thing I would suggest is Himalayas.
The Himalayas.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
So Himalayas, this is how you write it. So you need to be careful how you pronounce that. Himalayas. There we are. Himalayas.
Yeah. Himalayas.
Hmm.
Uh, so what do you think about mountains, mountain view?
Mm. That sounds exciting. That would be interesting. So, would this be an organized trip with a team to climb the Himalayas? And so I would be part of a group, an organized group, and we'd all go up together, up the mountains. Is that the way it's going to work out?
Yeah, it's a good question. All depends on your preferences.
Preferences, yes.
Preferences, yeah. Right.
Preferences.
So preferences. So
Hmm.
we can organize a trip in a group, or you can have your private trip with some with guides with
Hmm.
guides, and it depends on your on your health, on your
Hmm.
physical form. So
Right.
yeah,
Okay. So when you say about health and the physical form, are you saying that which of the two would be best? For example, if one doesn't have such good physical health, would it be better the group activity or the activity on one's own? Which one do you suggest? If one, let's say, isn't quite so fit, and if I'm not so experienced, what would you suggest, please, sir?
okay. First, all of our customers
Yes.
they take medical test.
Ah, right.
Yeah, they take medical test,
Hmm.
and depending on result, we choose on what trip, what will we take part in.
Oh, that's good. That's excellent.
Actually, actually, um, actually, in groups,
Hmm.
it's easier to travel in groups because you will have
Yes.
a new experience with another travelers from all over the world. It,
Right.
yeah, it would be much more interesting.
Hmm.
But for example, you will have a group of 10 travelers
Yes.
and just two guides,
Hmm.
and these guides will can't treat each traveler, can't treat each traveler as if you were on your own.
Okay, so I didn't really understand very well what you said. Could you just repeat that once more for me, please, Mr. Murat?
Okay, so if you choose a group,
Yes.
yeah, there will be about 10 travelers,
Right.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and two guides provided, just
Right.
provided.
Mm-hmm.
And in this situation, these two guides can't treat each traveler as much as they can treat personally you.
Ah, yes. Yes,
I
I see
mean,
what
if
you mean.
you are not a group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's up to you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, what kind of medical tests are they going to do? What do these tests involve exactly, please, Mr. Murat?
Yeah. Medical tests consist of several types of exercises, of
Yes.
physical exercises,
Mm-hmm.
and we test your blood pressure,
Blood pressure, yes.
and uh, your your physical conditions.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, are you able to climb?
So physical condition singular. Physical condition. Yes, that's right. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And to
And
see if I'm able to climb, yes. Mm-hmm.
yes, we test lungs,
Mm-hmm.
uh-huh. and and we test and psychological test. Is it
Oh,
right? Yeah.
psychological tests as well.
Uh,
Psychological
because,
tests.
yeah, because sometimes mountain trip becomes very stressful.
Mm,
Yeah.
yes. Oh, that's very good. They have very comprehensive medical tests then, very complete and thorough tests. That's good. So, yes, that's very well suited. So you'll be able to find exactly the right kind of activity for me and the right kind of setting, let's say, or choice for my trip, whether it's a group trip or a more individual trip, according to my physical and psychological health.
Right.
That is very good. Oh, I'm very impressed. Yes, well, that's very interesting. Yes, I would certainly be most interested in that. Is there any other information you can give me about this particular type of holiday, please, Mr.
Uh,
Murat?
before trip, we collect all information about your
All the
taste,
information. So with
all
the
information,
article, the definite article in front of the noun, all the
all
information, yes.
on your tastes.
On the
Uh,
tests, yes. Hmm.
your tastes. Uh, what food do you prefer? Yeah.
Well, I like all types of food. What kind of food? That was a question I needed to ask you. What kind of food do they have on these kind of trips, on these kind of holidays, when you're going into the Himalayas? I'm not actually sure what exactly people eat in those situations. What do they eat exactly?
Uh, almost all food
Really?
almost all food contains meat.
Oh, yes. Hmm.
Yeah, because your nutrition should be energetically full.
Yes.
Yeah,
So it should be um, uh, a food which is like energy producing. So you want
energy.
an
Yeah,
an energy producing uh, food,
mm,
right?
right.
Energy producing food. So food which produces energy, which generates energy. So I
Yeah,
imagine you have a lot of carbohydrates, starch, things like that.
right.
So carbohydrates and starch.
Yeah, right.
You've heard of these words before, carbohydrates and starch, yes. Mm-hmm. Yes,
Yeah.
well, absolutely. That would probably be the best food. Some carbohydrate meals, starch meals, so that I have a maximum amount of energy. And I like all types of carbohydrate meals and starch meals, so that would be good. Yes, that would be excellent. Uh, Anything else I need to know, or any other questions that you may need to ask me about this, Mr. Murat?
Yes, we have two types of trip. I mean, two
Mm-hmm.
destinations.
Yes.
So we can start climbing from Chinese part, from Chinese
Yes.
side,
Mm-hmm.
or from Nepal.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's up to you where to go. But I should say that it's sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes our tourists have difficulties with Chinese visas.
Ah, the Chinese visas. Yes. Yes, of
So
course.
I should start preparing your documents in advance.
Of course. Absolutely. So probably it'd be easier from the Nepalese side, uh, because of the visa being easier to obtain um, on the Nepalese side rather than the Chinese side. Mm. Well, that's very useful information. Yes, thank you very much for that. So I will definitely have to have a look at all of that, all of those options and possibilities that you've mentioned. I'd look at that more closely and think of exactly how I would like to do this. And so I will keep you informed. I'll let you know once I've made up my mind, definitely concerning this, concerning the dates and how long I would like to stay there. And then I will come back again, and then we can book the holiday together. That would be brilliant. Excellent. So
Walter,
thank. Yes.
I can send you more information on
Yes.
your email,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm looking forward to hearing from you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that
So
would be excellent. Definitely, we'll keep in contact by email. Thank you for sending all that information by email. That'll be very useful. And you have a great day then. And thank you very much again for your help, sir. Very good of you. Okay, so how did you find that then, Murat? This simulation we've just done.
yeah, I think it's great, and because you know
Hmm.
uh, when I start, for example, any lesson starts from who are you? You
That's
just
right.
yeah,
Hmm.
and in this case, my English is not good, maybe, but it's
Hmm.
okay.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
sufficient. It's adequate. Yes.
When we go to some specific topics,
Hmm.
uh, yeah, my English gets worse.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
logical. I mean, that's normal. That's to be expected. So it's good that you cover the basics, like the greetings, and that's good revision. And it's good for you to go into m- less well-known areas, more specialist areas, where you're using more particular words, specialized words, jargon, terminology, and that enables you to learn new vocabulary, and which is good. So at the same time, you're revising the old vocabulary you know when we're doing the greetings, and learning new vocabulary when we're going into something a little bit more specialized. So it's good. You have the best of both worlds there. That's very useful. Yes. Excellent. So, do you think this would be the right kind of lesson for you then, Murat? The RLS and RPS? lessons?
Yeah, I think it's okay.
You think that would be okay? Yes, I think so. I think this would be good practice for you, and this would enable you to therefore be able to speak in lots of different situations which reflect real life situations. So you could find yourself in one of those situations in real life and be well equipped and prepared to be able to speak clearly, fluently, with confidence in those situations. That would be good practice. Yes, absolutely. Well, that is really good. Okay. So, do you have any other questions you'd like to ask me then, Murat?
Yeah, I think it would be better if I prepare a presentation not about myself but about my hometown.
Sure. I think your English is good enough that you don't need to, present yourself because obviously that's the easiest. But as I can hear from, now that we've done the role playing, that your English is sufficiently good. It's good that you yourself know your kind of level and what could be most useful for you, so you know what would be the best subject for the presentation. And I think, yes, it'll be more challenging for you to talk about something else other than yourself, like your hometown. Yes, absolutely. Which isn't too difficult because obviously you know a lot about your hometown already. So you have a lot of subject matter which you can present. But obviously it's going to be less easy than just talking about you yourself as a person, because obviously there'll be a little bit more specialized vocabulary when you're talking about your hometown. And of course, you can choose any aspect of your hometown that you like. You see, the choice is yours. So it's very wide. You can talk about lots of different things, um, like superficially on the surface, so it isn't too complicated. Or if you have one subject you're particularly interested in and you'd like to develop that particular subject in depth, then you can really concentrate on that, and there you'll have a maximum amount of specialization in that particular subject. So you could do either of those two approaches or a combination of both, if you see what I mean. You could combine both together. So a little bit of general information and then some more specific, in-depth information. That would be good. Yes, that would be really excellent, Murat. Right. So, tell me, how did you find this lesson? Did you find it useful, helpful, interesting? Did you learn some new things? Uh, how did you find it? What was your impression of it, your opinion?
Yeah, because I think it's better
Mm-hmm.
than other lessons because if for example I
Mm-hmm.
take I book 30 minutes lesson. So
Right.
first 10 minutes just introduction,
That's right.
introducing,
Mm-hmm.
then some general conversation. General,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
yeah. The next lesson the same, and
Mm-hmm.
no new vocabulary.
Ah, yes, that's true. If you want to progress, obviously you need to extend your vocabulary knowledge because obviously the only thing that'll really be limiting you once you know the rules of grammar and the basic rules of pronunciation, the only thing that can limit you from going further will be your knowledge of vocabulary. Because, in a sense, what I often tell my students, vocabulary, it's like ammunition, you see. And if you have a gun but no ammunition, then you don't have anything to say. You see what I mean? And in that situation, you're kind of stuck because you don't have the words to express yourself. But if you have at least a sufficient level of vocabulary in all the main subject areas, then you'll be able to express yourself quite easily and quite fluently in all of those areas, and you feel you'll always have something to say because you have the words of vocabulary with which to express yourself. You see what I mean? And Duolingo, because I've also used Duolingo, so I'm familiar with that, it gives you a lot of vocabulary, it gives you a lot of sentences, and even basic grammar, of course, because, you know, you're having to complete a sentence with the missing word, and lots of little tests like that, exercises like that. So it is very good. But so you do have the vocabulary, but now it's putting that vocabulary into practice, you see. Now that is what's important. And it's good to look at all the different subject areas. And that's what's useful with RLS and RPS, because we can choose any subject we want, any situation. And it can be more useful than just, well, especially for you, for the speaking, than just reading an article, okay, and maybe discussing it, because here you're having to think in real time, spontaneously, instantaneously, to answer the questions and to create your own sentences using your own words. And that's much more difficult than just reading something that's written and just talking about it. Here it's the closest to real life, and this is the best training you can possibly do, and in any area that you're interested in. And that's what's good. You can choose exactly the area you're interested in and then concentrate on that, because obviously that's what's going to be most useful for you. So that would be really good. I can see how useful this would be for you for your test or your exam that you're going to have. Do you know exactly when you're going to have this exam, the Duolingo exam?
I can take it anytime.
Ah, anytime. That's good. It's online. It's online. Yes.
Yes, it's online. I feel that I'm not ready right now because I have just one chance.
Only one chance?
No. They give two chances.
Two chances?
30 days.
Ooh.
In a month.
In a month? Oh, right. Okay.
Two chances. And yes. First time I failed.
You failed the first time. So you've already tried the actual exam, and did you have a result? What was your score? Do you remember? How many marks did you obtain?
On this test?
Yes, the one that you failed. I mean, did you fail by a little or did you fail by a lot? Do you know what was the result?
Yeah, I know. Yes. Total amount is 160. Total possible amount.
Total possible amount. Okay, 160. Yes.
And my overall is 110.
Oh, 110. So that's more than 50%.
I know, but actually I need 119.
119, right. And you did 110.
Yeah. But,
oh, well, it's not far off. It's quite close. Yes, sorry?
Each section should be at least 90.
Yes.
Yeah, and one section is 125, and one the list is 75.
Right.
Yeah, speaking part, speaking section is.
Ah, yes. So different sections, and of course you did better in certain sections and not so good maybe in the speaking section. Is that right?
Yeah. So I have IELTS results last years.
Yes.
But it's not. It doesn't meet my requirements.
Right.
I have 5.5 in writing.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, but speaking is 6.
And speaking is 6.
Right. Yeah.
So it's better the speaking than the writing.
Yeah.
Yes. But for the Duolingo test, it's especially for the speaking that you need to improve.
Right. It's difficult because this test is tricky and sometimes awkward because there is no examiner. No examiner. You just record your video and send them.
Oh, right. I see what you mean.
The website.
So it's not quite the same as the IELTS test. It's different. Well, I mean, it should be quite possible, feasible for you to be able to succeed in that test, because you're not all that far off. If you had 110 and you need 119 out of 160. So what would be interesting would be to look at the subject areas that they ask you questions about. So we could concentrate in preparing you for this test to develop those specific subject areas, that they're interested in, that they ask you questions about, so that you feel much more comfortable in those subject areas. And so when you do actually do the speaking part, you will do very well indeed, because you've really mastered those areas. You see what I mean, Murat?
Yes, I see.
So you'll have to maybe do that for next time. Just list the specific subject areas, the topics that this test exam focus on, the areas that are focused on, and then we can concentrate on those, develop those, until you have all the vocabulary you need for those subject areas, so that you know those areas so well that you'll feel confident and able to speak freely and easily in those specific subject areas. Do you think that would be a good idea, Murat, if we do that?
Yeah, I will do it.
Excellent. Very good. Well, we've come to the end of our time. I gave you a little bit of extra time because we started a little bit late, because I was just finishing off with my previous student. But thank you very much for your patience in waiting for that. And so I look forward then to our next lesson together. That's Monday, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, on Monday.
Right. Okay. I'm sorry, at the beginning of this lesson, I confused actually Monday's lesson with today's lesson, because when I looked at what kind of lesson it was, I clicked on the Monday and I saw it was English informal tutoring. But in fact, it's during the lesson, when I was having a little look at the timetable, that I saw that this particular lesson was exactly what we did, which was RLS and RPS. So finally, we did do the right lesson, but I didn't realize that you'd actually chosen that. So sorry about that little mix-up then, Murat. Okay, that's great. Any other questions you have before we finish off the lesson?
No.
Everything's okay? Yes? Yeah. That's good. Great. Well, thank you very much for the lesson then, Murat.
Thank you.
And have a great weekend, and I look forward then to our lesson on Monday. That'll be great.
See you.
Wonderful. See you then.
Okay.
Take care. Thanks. Cheers. Bye-bye, Murat.